Hi, hello everyone. Tuesday night. It's like almost Friday. Not really. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for coming. How are you guys doing in your 60-day challenge? We had a few horses being manifested. So this week's manifestation is a horse. I don't know, some of you might not be part of my Facebook group, but on the Facebook group we had a couple of horses already. So I'm excited about that. I thought a horse would be really hard to see, especially since most people live in the city, but apparently not. So we're going to talk about a few things tonight. We're going to talk about SP, romantic relationship, how to define what you want in terms of a romantic relationship, what you want in a partner in order to manifest it, how to give it back in general for either DSP or a manifestation that's not really in line with exactly what you want. You must give it back. We're going to talk about stop trying to understand the how. A lot of you, especially if you've been on the manifestation journey for a while, will keep trying to understand the how. And it doesn't, the more you try to understand it, the least likely you are to manifest, if that makes sense. So I want to dive right into this. Who is manifesting? Let's start with the love portion. Can't stay here too long, just stop to say hi. I really appreciate the people who come in to say hi and to participate and to give their energy to the group and to do this group work, okay? The power of the minds united, especially when we do affirmations for one another, is so powerful. I'm telling you guys, if you stay with me and with the group for this journey, you will be amazed at how your life and your inside transformed. I have several testimonials where people said, I can't thank you enough. Like I didn't really get the car or whatever, but I don't even want that anymore. The way I feel every day has completely changed. Like my inner self has changed, and you have to, that's the point when you start to manifest. Like people are trying to manifest from a state where they feel completely unworthy, undeserving. And they're like, why can't I manifest? Gee, you got to do the work to raise yourself up to the point where, you actually feel like you're in charge of your reality. You can't manifest from a low state of consciousness. I know who I want. How do I attract him? You attract what you are, not what you want. So whoever you are, whoever you were, the results that you got so far reflect the person that you are or that you were. You cannot take control of anything in your life unless you accept responsibility for whatever has happened in your life being a reflection of you. Okay, and I'm talking about your relationships, I'm talking about your financial situation, etc. I made the rain stop today. I couldn't believe it. What I couldn't believe? I couldn't believe the traction that my rain video got, because in this community, it is known that this is relatively easy to do, right? At least 200 people commented, I can do the same exact thing. And then some people tried it and they're saying exactly what you're saying. I made the rain stop. I parted the clouds. Guys, it's not hard. It's not hard when you work with the laws of nature. And in the laws of nature, your consciousness is higher than the consciousness of the rain, the trees, the animals, etc. So it's really, you should try it. Try it by ranking yourself, by increasing your self-worth, not from the perspective of the ego, but from the perspective of I rank higher. I'm an increased consciousness above what else is in your reality. And the SP thing, okay, here's one component of the SP thing and why they change. When people do this work, the people who are successful at it and manifest their SP, they always say like, oh yeah, he's come back and he's totally changed and etc. When you increase your frequency and your consciousness surpasses their consciousness. And because most of the SPs you've already been with, and if you guys don't know this, you'll know it now. If you've been with somebody physically, you will always be connected to that person on some energetic level. So as you raise your consciousness, you're dragging whatever you have an emotional attachment up with you. Now, you're not going to be able to drag them as high as you, right? Because they have to do their own inner work, but they will be dragged and pulled by the gravity force of your higher vibration. Okay. They will be drawn to you. This is how people are saying, oh, he came back and he's totally different. This is why it happens. I'm just, explaining it to you. So I want to start by talking about the SP. We have a lot of questions about the SP. People are trying to manifest their SPs. I know there's a lot of material out there on TikTok about SPs and making them obsessed with you and what have you. Guys, you should never try to make anyone obsessed with you for any reason. It's not a good thing. It's not a desirable thing. And then the worst part is that you're going to have to sustain that, right? You're going to have to sustain it like you would sustain a magic trick, that gravitational pull of them being obsessed. So I would not go that route. Not that it can be done. There's all sorts of ways, the way that energy can be applied in this work and in this world for those who know how to manipulate it. Use it for good. No, let's see. Being obsessed is not good. They could hurt you. Yeah, what if you manifest them obsessed and then you don't want them anymore? What are you going to do with them then? Right? I want to know your questions about your SP. And here's my SP story and sort of not without giving too much personal details. One time I made this list of, I figured I'm going to manifest, I wasn't thinking of anyone specific, but I'm going to manifest a man who has these qualities. And I wrote down 10 things that I wanted him to be like. And they were all like 3D things, like his height, what he does for a living, how much money he earns, and, all of those things, what he's into, what he reads, what I would talk to him about. And just to make sure that the man I meet is my manifestation, I added he needed to have a certain kind of dog and a cottage in a certain place. And I met that guy within like 2.5 or 3 months of making this list, which was like to the breed of dog that I said. And I only put that in there. I'm not even like a big dog person. I don't have a dog. I only put that there just to make sure, it's my manifestation. The same way I did it with the weight, right? I put a decimal point in the weight that I requested just to make sure it's my manifestation. It's not a coincidence. So anyways, I met this guy within like 2 to 3 months. And then I realized that I missed something on that list that was so crucial, okay, to me and my happiness, that the relationship couldn't function. Like for me, it couldn't function in the absence of this element that I had forgotten to put on the list, right? So it was very, very unfortunate, right? But I had to disconnect from that relationship. And my point with the story is this. If you make a list with your ideal partner traits, it's not, and you make it about him, it's not necessary that you will be happy once you meet this list. Okay. And the reason for that is you don't even know, especially as you're doing this work and raising in consciousness, what makes you happy will change. And your ability to define exactly what makes you happy will not be perfect. Okay. Your ability to define it. So here's what I suggested instead in my videos. I suggested you keep all your love and SP work about you. And when you make your affirmation, you need to keep it only on you. Not, John loves me and John is crazy obsessed with me and John adores me and John has no choice. No, it's all about you. And do something on this list that you sort of haven't experienced. So if you experienced people ghosting you or people, I don't know, asking you to pay 50-50 on dates or something crazy like this, you're going to go in and say, I'm always protected and provided for. I always meet men who want to give to me. I'm always a priority. I get so many phone calls from men. I can't even handle the level of attention that they want, etc. So this is sort of how to keep the work on the SP. And I want to make sure this is what you guys are doing in your SP column. Especially, thank you so much, Queen, especially if you're trying to manifest an SP. It is not good to focus on them. Somebody asked me, you haven't seen my live in a while. So my lives are scheduled. They're always at the same time. They're Tuesday and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not sure. Sometimes the system doesn't prompt people for some reason, but that's okay. If you remember the schedule, I don't go online randomly. So I only come Tuesday and Thursday nights at 7 p.m. And then I have an additional live that I do for people overseas at 12 p.m. on Mondays. So if you remember the schedule, if you want to see my lives, you're always welcome. I also record them and put them on my YouTube channel, which is under the same handle. So if you guys want to watch any of the older lives, of course, you can't read the comments because they don't record the comments, but I sort of read out all the comments before I reply to anyone. Okay. What do we want? Let's see. I want to take up some questions because I haven't taken up questions in a while. I had so much to say. I want to make sure we're clear on the SP and everybody's doing the work on themselves, centered. Their affirmations are about themselves, about how you are seen in the world by yourself and by others, right? So I'm always wanted, adored, protected. All men I date want to marry me. I have to say no to all the dates that I'm being asked on. It's all about you. Ashley says, I made a simple list and my longtime friend and I became boyfriend, girlfriend. He was the very thing on it. That's usually what happens with lists. And I'm assuming it didn't work. Just like my list. Because I missed like a couple key elements. All right. What is your opinion of the concept? This one's a good one. It's not about the SP, but what is your opinion of the concept that God's plan is better than your own plan for your life? The thing is, Queen, we're never going to know God's plan, right? And when something happens, like, how do you know it's God's plan or it's a reflection of the randomness in your mind? That means you never take responsibility for anything that happens to you, because everything that happens to you is the unfolding of God's plan. And in this game of life, you don't have a part to play. You just exist and things happen to you. I don't like to live that way. I like to live on purpose. And I'm very grateful to the higher power, to our creator. But I don't like to, I like to take creative responsibility because I think I am a splinter of the creator. And therefore I was created in his image and he has given me creative power. Hello, do you have one-on-one chats? I do for people who are doing the manifestation work in my bio. You can book a one-on-one coaching if you want. I don't advertise it because really I just want to talk to people that I see doing the work and talking to me on a regular basis. So he is my SV still. He actually had so many things I didn't know I wanted, but a few traits I don't know if I like. I think that's what you're saying. Okay, so that is who your SV is, Ashley. So that's fine. He manifested based on the list. He was what you wanted on that list. But now the work has to be about you. Right? How fast do you manifest your SP? The speed with which the manifestation comes has to do with you. It has to do with how aligned you are with the version of you that has the best version of him. Now, you can't have the current version of him because the current version of him doesn't want you, right? If he did, he'd be at your door. So there has to be a change in the version of you and how you see yourself so he can perceive and meet you at this level. Do you see what I'm talking about? If you do nothing in the status quo, nothing is going to happen. Or if you do things, if you have the same beliefs you always did, then you're going to take the same actions that lead to the same results, and people will see you the exact same way. It's very simple. In order to manifest different results, you have to start with different concepts and different beliefs, which will lead you to act differently, to speak differently, to interact with people differently, and those will bring an energetic shift with different results. I realized I haven't felt totally ready. I feel it's absolutely working, and I'm the delay. Yeah, I find it much easier to accept responsibility, because if I accept responsibility, then, I can definitely change the results, right? There was a time when I also thought, like the majority of women, that men weren't really worth it, and the world is populated by assholes and whatever concepts that they feed us, right? And until I change this concept, honestly, every single encounter that I had would sort of prove this concept. Not necessarily that they were just not people I wanted. And then I'm like, okay, so if I get into this work and I'm changing the concept of what men exist in the world, what type of men exist in the world, I should have different results, right? So all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, so there are protectors, providers, there's people who open the car door, there's people, and I sort of created this concept in which, in my world, I was surrounded by men who are exactly like that. And I'm telling you, all of a sudden, I started to meet just those types of people. And including like sort of like in business, including sort of pretty much all men I interacted with. And I want to tell you guys, the self-concept that they're talking about, it's not just has to do with how you see yourself, because there are a lot of women who actually have good self-confidence, but they still meet and run into circumstances that are below their self-worth, right? They would meet guys who treat them like crap. Now, these women might have no problem dumping these guys, but that's not the point, right? Just because you have self-worth, if you believe that the world is surrounded by assholes, you're going to meet every single one of them. This is the idea. The idea is you have to change all your beliefs, not sort of just about you or just about your self-concept, I used to say, honestly, as a joke, and we don't understand that our subconscious takes these jokes and internalize them. I used to say, oh yeah, I'm single because, this was years ago because I'm not single now, but, I used to say I am intolerant and intolerable. Ha 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 ha. I would only meet intolerable people who probably found me intolerable. You know what I mean? Like, do not joke about yourself. Don't joke about yourself. Where do you put God in this equation? He's the creator of this reality who gave us creative power in order to see what we would do with this. From dating coaches, let's see what I miss. Using this time of separation to build fulfilling solo life. SP icing, not cake. Do not focus on fulfilling solo life. Like not the solo part, okay? You're building a life where you can only be wanted and adored. I promise you, whether it's the specific guy you're thinking about or someone better, will simply show up in your reality. Will simply materialize at the coffee shop, or you can take active steps. If you're, let's say, online dating, it will be like the first guy you meet. It will just work out. Okay. But you have to change this concept about, oh, I need to go on 20 dates to find a good one. No, you don't. You really don't. Why do you think that? Why do you take your input from the output? Right? You see your friends needed to go on 20 dates. That's the output of 3D. You take that as your input. And now you're like, oh, so I have to go on 20 dates. Oh, so I have to work a 9 to 5 to make an income because that's what I'm observing. That is the output. You are the input. Do not take because they train you. They train you to take your input from the output because that's what they want. They want to create the output and you take that as input And then back and forth you go, wasting your life energy in the world, in their world. Let's see what we have here. Any recommendation to help young kids manifest their dreams? Guys, I really wish I was taught this at 5 years old. And I think every child should be taught that our thoughts affect reality very early on. Very early on, okay? And children are able to do incredible things if you teach them in this way of manifestation. Now, like, I have like some personal stories that are really crazy that way. But if you educate your kids to understand just this concept, whatever you speak matters. You know, kids these days, they use really crazy words that they learn in, I don't know, social media, music videos. Like they say this thing, oh, I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized. Like really, really negative things. They end up in hospital. They don't know why, you know, like there's an association with something you repeat all the time. That's what they need to know. Thoughts create reality. And there's an association between what happens to you based on the words that come out of your mouth. And also it wouldn't be bad, depending on their age, for them to know they're swimming against the current of collective consciousness. They will have to, in order to have a good life, right? They would have to believe that things can be different for them specifically. And if you look at any of the world's successful, very extra successful billionaires who came from nothing, I'm not talking about the elites. Okay, like Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, or whoever, the guy who invented Snapchat, they had to believe first that they don't need to work a 9 to 5, that they can produce something in this world that will bring them incredible wealth, or they would have had to believe that to give their business what they gave their business, right? Because they didn't just open a store trying to flip products where everybody knows your profit is 20%. They had to literally drop everything and the concept that they need to work a 9 to 5. Let's think about this. So the kids, just to go back to the point, kids need to understand that in order for them to have a good life, they have to go against the world on almost all the concepts that are being taught to them. I get paid to exist. Money flows easily to me. I love that. I love that, Carla. Let's see. What about if you have OCD? Does those thoughts manifest too? I've been trying to manifest OCD away. When you're trying to manifest something like that away, it perpetuates, doesn't it? Right? Because that's the only thing you think about. Whatever you don't want in your life, when you focus on what you want, when you don't want goes away. You can't focus on what you don't want. So if you have OCD and you don't want it, you can't focus on manifesting it away. We're not manifesting anything away. We're just, its absence will be caused by its replacement by something else that you want, that you're going to stay focused on. How do I feel abundant? Start with the small things. So when you go to sleep at night, so I'm not sure if you're doing my 60-day challenge, but that will help focus your mind. When you go to sleep at night, start counting money. That's level 1, step 1. See like actual physical money in your hand and start counting. There will be a sum of money with which you become uncomfortable. Okay. So as you're counting money, you're envisioning it in your wallet, on your desk, in your home, in your house. There will come time when you're counting hundreds, when all of a sudden you're not really comfortable with this amount of money in your house, in your hands. Okay. Do this for a while. And then start spending that money, whatever your limit is. Don't try to go beyond that limit. Okay. It was 20,000, 30,000, 100,000. People are not comfortable counting $1 million, having that in cash in their house. So let's say it's 20,000, then go and spend it in your mind. What am I going to do with 20,000? Don't think of paying off debt. Okay. You have 20,000 to yourself now, or however much. That's level 1. That's level 1 to a question like this. If you're more advanced in this, let me know and we'll talk about something else. Oh, I grew it. Yeah, exactly. So Ashley's saying I didn't manifest it away. I outgrew it. Exactly what I was saying. You just don't focus on manifesting it away at all. I want to make sure I answer your SP questions or the love questions because I want to move on from the love subject. I just moved into my dream town and apartment by scripting and affirming it works. Yeah, that's how I did it too. That's sort of how everybody who's tapped into this work, who's had success, has done it. It's never the way you think it. And please do not think it. Do not think it at all. I just done a video today and I can't remember what I called it, but it was basically stop trying to figure out the how. Stop trying, because you are putting such a limit on the limitless when you do that, right? If you're thinking, even if you're thinking of your SP, let's go back to the SP. If you're thinking, my SP will text me now, text, you're talking to your phone like a crazy person. Or, you're imagining him showing up with flowers. Let go of all of that, please. Those are the how it could happen that he could come around. Let the universe surprise you. Let the universe, do you guys remember that scene in this, I think it was the second part of Sex and the City. Maybe I'm dating myself. Like the second movie where she went to Dubai and she ran into this old love of hers, like in the middle of, I don't know if it was Dubai, but it was something like this. It will happen when you least expect it in the most marvelous way if you do this work. I promise you, because it happened to me. It happened to people I know personally. And I'm hearing from my group now how like some of you are really like, maybe it's not with SP, maybe it's like, they're just going to work and people are just like, my boss just called me in and gave me a raise. I was thinking, it just happened. One of the girls the other day said, I'm only 2 days into this work. And I was like, I'm traveling. And somebody just called her and be like, I booked this weekend for us to go. So it was like a client. It wasn't, her SP or anything like that. Just surprise her with it. Things you have to allow for serendipity. You have to allow, if you want, let's pick a sum of money, $10,000 this month, $100,000. 100 is hard for people to conceive because you need to know what it feels like to get 100. So let's say most people know how to get $5,000. Okay. $5,000 is not a lot. Okay. I'm getting $5,000 to keep this month in July, before July 30th, 2023, 31st. I am getting, not I'm earning, not I'm making, not I'm inheriting, I am getting, okay? It's mine, $5,000 to spend. Or you can use this with any amount that's believable to you. Okay, don't use it with 1 million or 10 million. It's usually not believable. Neville Goddard is the father of law of assumption. He can find a lot of videos on YouTube. A lot of people actually find Neville Goddard way too simple. This work, these concepts are very simple, but they're not easy. Okay, I always say that. Okay, and a lot of people nowadays, okay, these days, when people, especially because his teachings are so heavily based on scripture, they're having trouble making these assumptions with Neville. And if you're a literal manifestor like me, I tried Neville and I got a couple of literal results that are not what I wanted. So I kind of just dropped that. I respect him a lot. His teachings are amazing. It's just in this work, they're either too simple or too complicated for people. You know what I mean? Most I manifested was 10K. It was very unexpected. You'd be surprised to know how many people have this story. You'd be surprised to know. But the key element is that people, the moment they have a goal, their brain is looking for a way to achieve it. Without you understanding, you're not the one achieving it. See, because in school, they tell you, write out where you want to be, write out how you're going to get there, write out your business plan, write out, do you know what I mean? And because your brain is trained that way, when you say, I have an extra $10,000. You have to fight your brain to tell it, stop trying to figure out, for God's sakes, how I'm going to get this $10,000. Just stop. Don't think of it for a second. It's just mine and that's it. I don't want to hear your ideas. No. I don't want to hear it. Okay. So I've been meaning to listen some of the Florence Shin's teachings for a while. I didn't get a chance to it. I am a lot into Genevieve Behrand, I think is the way you say her last name. She was the only pupil of Thomas Trowler, who was very well known, like one of the fathers of New Age teachings, but he didn't have any students. So he was sort of like a really deep guy. But I've been meaning to check out Florence for a while now. It's amazing how many people had this work right in the 1800s and what they were able to manifest. So, for example, Genevieve Behrand was trying to manifest going to study with this Trowler guy, and she didn't have the money to do it. So at the time, she figured she needed like $20,000 to just stay there for a couple of years. This is in the 1800s. To stay in London for a couple of years. She was from the States. No, she was from another country in Europe, but she needed to go to London. And she started counting $20,000, which was an immense sum of money. It would be like maybe like 100 grand nowadays, or maybe 200 grand. She started counting that in her mind and seeing herself working with this guy. She got the $20,000. She never said like exactly how she got it, but she got it. And then, it took her like, I don't know, a year's work to convince him to take her on as a student. And he asked her a riddle, a question, and she went around asking everybody, how do I answer this riddle? Because she knew the answer to the riddle would mean that he would take her on as a student. And completely unexpectedly, she was looking through a bookstore. She saw an author. She decided to contact him about something else. She went to his office, and then she said, and by the way, what do you think about this question? It was like Thomas's riddle. And he's like, well, this is the answer. Like, it was like a completely random person she didn't know, but it just occurred to her to go to a bookstore, to pick up a book, to contact the author. It was on a different subject. I just find these things in Thomas Trowler, I think it's either Trowler, something like this. These are all people who live in the 1800s. It was $21,000 bills. Yes, correct. She was counting $21,000 bills. But the point of the story is, she manifests. The money is easy to manifest. Okay, if you count it and you spend it and you have a purpose for it. The problem with most people nowadays is they want to use it to pay off debt, and sort of it nullifies itself. Do not use your imaginary money to pay off debt. Forget about the debt. That will focus on the revenue. The expenses will take care of themselves. Okay, just focus on the revenue only. And the most incredible part of the story is how she ran into the answer for the riddle that was key in whether or not Thomas accepts her as a student or not. Because she didn't know the answer, right? So she just said to the universe, how do I get this answer? And she kind of left it to that. The man didn't want to answer the question, and his cat jumped in her lap. Exactly. And the cat didn't like people. Exactly. And this guy said to her, I would have thrown you out, except my cat never talks to people, never takes to people. Something like it was a series of events that is the unfolding of your manifestation. When you look forward, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can't. This is why you have to let it go. Let it go completely. Okay. This is the hardest part for people, to let it go. It's probably the only part that's hard, because everything else is simple. But when you look back and you connect the dots, you will get goosebumps. And if you've ever had one of this serendipitous manifestation, not like a literal manifestation like I get with a wedding ring, like I find them in the parking lots, and that's annoying. Okay. Like, I'm talking about something where you can connect the dots, like Genevieve's story, right? You can, if the cat didn't jump, if she didn't see that book, if she didn't contact the author, she would have never gotten the answer to Trowler for him to take her on as a student. It's just such an amazing story. All right, let's get back. How to manifest being debt-free. Never think about debt. Okay, I want you only to think about how your life would be different when you had whatever sum of money. Let's say your debt is 100 grand, right? And you need a sum of money that would cover that and then obviously leave you with extra on top. Think about spending that extra on top, because let's say you get 30,000, it would go off to paying your debt. So that's not money you can spend. Only think about money you can spend, because that implies you've already taken care of your debt, if that makes sense. Can I date other men while manifesting my SP? I know a lot of coaches will tell you you can date other men. The only thing that I want you to be careful with is whoever touches you changes your energy. Okay? So you may be doing, it's always the higher mind that's affected. So you may be doing this work. You're doing the 60-day challenge, I think. When you're doing at least the 60 days, try not to date unless the person is exactly what you want. Because what happens is, as you're growing slowly in frequency, what happens, guys, is if you interact with a lower frequency, especially in physical touch, it will bring you back down in 3D. Okay, so I just want you, anyways, people should only touch people who are aligned and treat them well, etc. Right? But what happens is, because everybody's dating everybody these days, this is not judgment on social behavior. I'm talking from an energetic standpoint. If you want to do this work, if you want to manifest exactly what you want, you have to really guard your energy, and the energy doesn't become confused. Guys, truth really must be received in small doses, because if you have some profound revelations, like if you realize, let's say, just how much other people's energy affects us, and you realize that very, very suddenly, it will completely change the way you behave, and it might even affect your body. So I want you guys to pay attention when you interact with other people. When you get home, how do you feel? I had a friend, she was on online dating, and she only went on 2 dates. And she said, when I got home and I was assessing myself, I was feeling much worse than when I left the house. And this is how I knew the process wasn't for me. And the moment she let go of that, she went to this party, okay, for her studio where she was working out. And it wasn't someone from the studio. It was someone from the studio's friend who was visiting from out of town, who had nothing better to do. She met this man, and she's like, well, she's married to him now. And this is how it happens, by assessing your energy and how it feels. All right. Can I date other men? We got that. We got to this. I just want to make sure, if you guys have any other questions about the work that we've been doing this week. We've manifested the horse. Did anybody jump on this live who has already manifested the horse? I've only put this out yesterday, so probably not. You have to manifest a live horse if you're part of the circle that we're doing the work with me on the 60-day challenge this week. In fact, everybody on this live, please close your eyes. Let's all close our eyes now. Okay, especially if you're doing this work, and let's envision this horse. It's a real horse. It's a real brown horse. You can see its stature, and you can smell him, because horses have a smell, and you can see how shiny his coat is. You can see his long tail, and you can get really close. Don't touch it. You can get really close and say, you're my horse, and I'm happy to see you. Thank you for manifesting in my reality. Now take that horse and send it to everybody in the circle. Everybody's going to see the horse this week. Okay? Please put it on the Facebook group once you see it. You don't need to include the photo. Somebody just put it today, said like, I didn't get a chance to take a photo because I was driving, but I manifested it. I'm like, that totally counts. We believe you. I have a horse. Well, that's easy then. What is the 60-day challenge? It's in my bio. It's a manifestation challenge. You do work every day. You do some certain work. It's all described in there. And you report back the results. Why is it now that I'm aware? Oh, hi, Adriana. Why is it now I'm aware of this law? Do I feel like I'm damaged? And and the problem. Adriana, do not, excuse me, guys. here's what I want you guys to do. Without guilt and shame, the three lowest vibrations are fear, guilt, and shame, right? Fear is the worst because fear is faith in the negative outcome of the situation that you're contemplating, right? So for example, when it comes to an SP, fear would be he's going to marry somebody else, right? That's faith in the fact that you're not chosen. So that's the worst, because when you have a certain fear, it means you have faith in the opposite outcome. Then guilt and shame has to do with what Adriana is asking now. I'm damaged and I'm the problem. You do not need to identify with the person that's gone through whatever you've gone through between age 0 and, let's say, if you're 25 years old, age 0 and 30. Okay? And the way I know this for sure is because you can look back in your mind and observe this person. Who is observing this person? Who is you? Who is you? Are you the one here who's observing her? Because if you were her, you could not observe it. Do you see what I mean? You need to completely disassociate without guilt and shame. What she's done was based on whatever she felt was right at the time. Who you are now, go back in your revision tonight, give this woman a hug, see her in front of you as the person from yesterday and the days before, and say, I'm sorry, I have to let you go because I just jumped a couple of steps, and the new version of me, she's not ghosted. She is adored. She is wanted. She is loved. And I love you. You know, you did what you could so far, but now I'm taking over. I'm taking over this me that is adored. This is who's in this body. It's like when it says in the Bible, I will put a new spirit in you. I will take from you a heart of stone and put in you a heart of gold. You get a different download. It is, do you guys, this is a huge concept, okay? I want you to understand this new download of you. You have to choose it. It can't just enter your body like a magic spell, okay? Maybe they can do that. Who knows? I don't want to know. But you have to choose it. If you choose it, it has no choice but to come. It has no choice. And Adriana, we're not working on him. We're not working on him. So everything I said so far has to do with you. When you have this new download, he's going to do this, right? He has no choice. I promise you, and I promised you before, all you got to do is you. All right, where were we? I want to share something. Nowadays, when I say something is happening, it's happened, but when it's about money, nothing happened. Okay, so this is why we're doing all this work with the small manifestations in my group, because your brain will eventually understand the way something happens, especially if you have 2-3 manifestations in a row of random things that we all discuss together. If your brain, if you have 3 syncs in a row with everybody else, like flamingos, turtles, but they have to be consistent, then the 4th or 5th time, I can say $1 million, and that thought will absorb because it's the same idea. Well, I'm not going to say $1 million because we're still working on smaller sums. People generally can only manifest what they can conceive. You can conceive, how much money did you ever get paid that was the most amount of money? That's what you can conceive. That doesn't mean that's all you can receive. That means you need to prove yourself that consistently you can do that in order to move on to a different step. Trust me. This is why I'm saying truth must be received in small doses. When it's received in small doses, it goes in sediments, right? It sits on top of one another. Success is cumulative, and you're going to have a growth that's consistent that you don't have to sustain with a huge amount of energy in the future. And this work is probably going to take you a few months to do. Okay. But if you do it overnight, like all manifestations that are done overnight, they're usually not able to sustain them. This is why a lot of the lottery winners, probably 90% or more, lose all their money and they become worse. They're not able to sustain that vibration. They're not used to it. So be prepared for the highest life. This is why when people buy my 60-day challenge and I send them an email back, I always ask them, how's life different now that you have this manifestation? And you'd be surprised how many people don't understand that question, right? So, okay, you're SP. Can you articulate to me how life is different on a day-to-day basis? So when you think of it that way, when you prepare the terrain, when it doesn't surprise you, it doesn't just show up and then you're the same you and then he ghosts you again. And then, do you see what I mean? Because what's the point, Adriana, what's the point for him to come back? Right? And then you get in the same cycle. I mean, he's come back before. This time, it needs to be a different version of him that comes back to meet this different version of you. That's what's sustainable. That's what we're trying to achieve. Oh, yeah. So, Ashley, I'm going to take up your question in a second, but give it back. Okay, we got to talk about give it back. And I think okay, we're almost out of time. We got to talk about giving it back. So when you get something that's kind of what you wanted, I wish I knew this with the wedding ring back in the day, back like 10 years ago when I found it, because I thought it was hilarious. I was like, yes, you answered. If you guys don't know the story, I was thinking, oh, I'd like to be married. Like I put my wedding ring on and envisioning this wedding ring. And then I found one like exactly the way I wanted, three-side studded diamond Tiffany band in a parking lot. And I was like, this is great. You know, I thought of a wedding ring and I got it, but I didn't realize in that moment I had accepted that as the results of my manifestation. So once you accept an image or something that's not exactly what you wanted as your manifestation, the universe takes that as, it's not only that it's fulfilled that manifestation, it takes that as input that that's how you want to be responded, right? So if I tell you, go see a turtle, go see a horse, and you keep sending me pictures from TikTok of horses, and that means, okay, not only are you observing it and you're accepting that your manifestation came true, you're having me observe it. Right? So now there's two people observing, this is how the universe responds to you. So when you want your SP, you're going to see a picture of him. Is that a response? So we have to actively give back to the universe whatever semi-manifestation that we get that is not what you wanted. I told you guys, I want a live horse, a physical horse. Okay. No more images, no more pictures, no more half measures. Okay. Somebody sent me this today. I put it on the Facebook group. She asked me if it counts. Somebody gifted her this purse with a horse. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. It's a nice thing. She said she had goosebumps, and I get it, right? Because you're thinking of this horse and then you manifest that purse on your desk, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool, but it's not what you wanted, right? So some people accept it because they're like, well, I'm grateful. You know, I want to show the universe that I'm grateful. Pay attention to this profound concept. We're not talking about the creator now. The formless substance, which is neutral, does not care about you showing gratitude. Gratitude is only a way in which you speak to it. If you're grateful, it understands that this is what you wanted. Get it? So if you're grateful for that purse, which you might be grateful you got a purse, but it's not your manifestation. So energetically, give it back. Just say, this is funny. It's funny, but it's not, no. You need to do better. Now, it's not the same as if you're insulting somebody who gives you a gift and say, do better. It doesn't care how many times you give it back. It wants to give you what you want. This is its programming. It's programmed to give you what you want. with gratitude at what all the spiritual teachers are talking about, being in gratitude. That's how you acknowledge that it's done well. Okay, that's how I talk to it. Gratitude is just a language. I want you guys to really pay attention to this, okay? If you want to go on a date with your SP, but meanwhile, you get invited on a free dinner by, I don't know, somebody you're not interested in. If you show gratitude to the universe, well, at least somebody took me on a free dinner, that means you're accepting. You're accepting that as what you asked the universe to do. The universe delivered half-ass, and you said, you're not grateful. Give it back. Give it back. It doesn't care. It's not a person. Give it back. Say no. No. I am wanted and adored. And in your mind, you're thinking of that feeling of being with John without naming necessarily John. Oh, thank you. I'm sending that image back. I want to be the one holding the paddle and feeling strong there. That's right. That's right. Give all the images back. Now, it's cute to see these inputs from the universe that are kind of what you wanted. So you got to understand, it's just like asking a kid, maybe a kid who doesn't speak your language, go bring me a white shoe, and you're pointing to the shoe, and they go and bring you a red shoe, right? It's like that. But what you would do in your day-to-day interaction is you would be like, no, let me clarify. I want a red shoe, and this is what red looks like, right? So if you're asked out by a guy you don't want, but you want your guy, okay? When you go on that date, let's say you decided to go on the date. At the end of it, sit and contemplate. This was okay, but I wanted to feel this way. And then conjure up that image when you were at the happiest with your SP. Conjure up that image. My advice is always keep it sort of like, because a lot of people have been with their SPs physically, keep it up to like an image of passion, a sexual image, because that's sort of like, it's no pain in that, there's no hurt in that, you know what I mean? So don't associate it to a negative emotion, and just say, this is how I want to feel. This is what I'm looking for. This is what, so I'm giving this back. So it's just an experience, and I'm giving it back. Actively, Ashley, you got to say it out loud, okay? You're giving it back. Daria, how are you doing? I haven't heard from you. Queen, what if I've never been in love? Nice. You want to be? I love you. How's your day? My day is great. Thank you so much. I love you guys so much. Like I'm putting a lot of love into this work that I'm doing and the energy that I'm putting out there. Remember, who you associate with matters, guys. When you're doing this work, I know a lot of you are very serious about this work. Do not let, because I've had somebody write me a long email just saying like she feels like she's moving up in ranks and in energetic ranks I'm talking about. But then she gets a phone call from her best friend, from her mother, and they want to talk to her for like 2 hours about crap. And I told her, Queen, you have to make some of the hard choices in life. Okay, you can't live the same life, have the same behavior, but expect different results. You might as well not be doing this work because they're pulling you back energetically. They're pulling, whatever step you take, it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. You know what I mean? If you guys expect that your manifestation will come without you making any changes in your life, you know? I had somebody write to me that even though she's been with her husband many years and they always paid 50-50 on rent or whatever it is, she's now finding that really upsetting. All of a sudden, she's like, I don't know how to tell him this after 8 years. Why am I feeling this way? And I said, well, you're feeling that way because you're making affirmations about how you're wanted, loved, protected, adored. and that your reality doesn't match whatever energy that you're raising inside of you, right? So you cannot expect to do this work and your life to stay the same, right? You were a different woman before when you're paying 50-50. Now as this woman is evolving energetically and you're making those kind of affirmations, everything gonna fall apart, right? In the 3D, or either he's gonna come up and meet you where you're at, or you're gonna get rid of him. You won't be, but it's gonna become intolerable to not expect that your life is going to stay the same, that you're going to have the same friends, that you're going to have 2 hours phone calls on how life sucks, how men suck, how she's always sick, how everything hurts with your mother, with your grandmother, etc. My ex was a 50-50 guy. Never again. No, never again. Not if you're doing this work. Not I want a provider with vision. I only meet providers with vision, Ashley. Okay? Look, we have all the good intentions for these providers, right? Like you can't manifest a provider because you want to use them. Like, that's not the point. The point is you want to love them and have a life with them and have this super positive intentions, which I know everybody in my group has. Like, most of the women in my group, they want to get married, they want to have a life, they want to have babies, they want to be great wives, right? They want the men to meet them at that level. And society almost makes them feel guilty about this, believe it or not. Well, not believe it or not. You know it. You know it. And I want you guys to understand, unless you switch, you disconnect from the collective consciousness in this regard, you will not be able to feel love, adored, and whatever else innately we as women want to feel, right? Like, we innately feel that need. Because when you have something else, it doesn't feel good. See, I want to build a beautiful home and pour energy. Exactly. I manifested a guy, but I was trying to manifest a guy to pay my bills. Yeah, don't manifest it from the perspective that he needs to pay your bills. Manifest him from the perspective of the life you want to give him, right? This work is all about giving. But if I'm raising my vibration where I have so much to give, then I'm only meeting the people who can meet me at this energy level, right? I don't want to use anybody. I want to give so much value to my partner, to you guys, to like everyone I'm interacting with. And I expect in return that the universe takes care of me because it's based on my level of giving. Do this with men, okay? With good intentions. Affirmations for SP to want to be a great stepfather. Let me think about that for you. That's a good one. Send me an email, please. It's just a topic that is more sensitive. Tell me also how old your child is, please. I will answer you on one email. Like, I'm not gonna ask you for anything. I wanna help you on that one. My email address is mona.khad@yahoo.com. Thank you so much, guys. Don't waste your money on this, on these, I don't know, virtual gifts. I prefer you just joining the group, on Facebook, just doing the work on the 60-day challenge. Just, if you manifest something significant as a result of this work, send me a coffee. Just don't worry about these virtual gifts. Thank you so much, though. Let's see. My husband said, stop believing this woohoos, come back to reality. You should not be discussing this work with your husband or with anybody who doesn't believe it. Do not think that just because you have a partner right now, you're intertwined energetic. You could be on a completely different level than him. Guys, we're all, like I say this all the time, okay? Unfortunately, it's true. We're all at different levels of consciousness. And our conscious evolution is very personal and very individual. We're all the same DNA, rights. All people deserve goodness, but what is returned to us is an indication of our consciousness. And we're all different. Every single person is different on that level. It has nothing to do with being good or bad, by the way. Unfortunately, I talked about this. This is upsetting and profound. It's got nothing to do with that. This is how bad people in this world are able to create great lives for themselves and their families. Definitely can be at different levels in marriage. Yeah. Don't forget, what happens also in marriage is, like I said, with the physical touch and energy, there's a lot of energy exchange in the sexual act. So that's a different conversation and different topic. And there's ways that you can energetically, anyways, if you're interested in that, I can talk about that one time. But it's really difficult to wake up one time and be at a different level than your husband or your wife. It's hard, right? If they haven't been on this path with you for a while. Happy 4th of July, absolutely. Absolutely. Happy 4th of July. America is the greatest country in the world. This land is, I honestly believe this land is, it's not a political statement. This land is sacred. Okay. There has been civilizations on this land much, much deeper than we understand. I really think that it's a blessed land. That's why it returns so much in spite of, in spite of all the craziness. All right. What's the email again? Email is mona.khad, mona.khad @yahoo.com. Could you explain how I'd be able to manifest reunited with my missing dog? One time my cat was missing, and honestly, I imagined him just coming up the steps of my deck, like in a certain manner. And that's exactly how it happened. So just do not think of them as missing. Just call them, sit whatever you're expecting them to come from, and be like, or if you're expecting somebody to just be outside your door, bringing them to you, or just have one image that implies that you're reunited with your dog, but an image that's not a memory. Okay. So you couldn't have observed that, like, oh, sleeping with your dog, but it might be a memory. It has to be something new. Can you manifest even if you're sad? No. I have a video on that. When you feel low, I mean, you manifest all the time, right? But you don't want to manifest from that state because it will be nothing good or nothing good sustainable. So when you're feeling low, your only focus will be to bring yourself higher. Do not think of anything specific you want or what have you. You're actually by putting that negative energy into the thing you want. So I don't want you guys to do that. If you're feeling low, your only focus is to be on feeling better. And this happens to people like when they go in nature or when whatever makes you feel better, do it in that second to raise your vibration and then think of an incremental step from that point on. For some people, it's eating ice cream. Some people is going out, petting a cat, petting a dog, playing with a baby, whatever it is that can disconnect you for a few seconds, for a few minutes, so you can come into that state of mind. Do not manifest when you're sad. Okay. Can you change your reality? Absolutely. This whole account is about changing your reality. You're in charge. I put a video today I think everybody should watch. It's about the simulation. I talked about it in my lives before. But if you want to go to my account and watch my latest video, I think you'll find it interesting. All right, guys. So I want to do, I don't know if we have time. Oh my God, we went over. Okay. So I don't have time for my I am affirmations, but I do the 369 tapping for I am a winner. And I will be back on Thursday night at 7 p.m. I want a few more people to manifest that life horse. Either email it to me or put it on the Facebook group when you do. If you manifested any lottery wins, I had a story and I have my own story. I always win like $20, $40. Now that we have the Facebook group as of 2 weeks ago, I'm going to put all the tickets there just so everybody's inspired. But without further ado, put your hands together, repeat after me. I'm going to say it 3 times, then 6 times, then 9 times. Then you're going to not scroll, just stay, just put your phone down and internalize the winning. Everybody's saying this in a group. Send it back to the others. I am a winner. 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 I am a winner.